We are social beings. We find mutual healing in sharing. That's part of our biology. We feel good when we gather, when we share, when we talk, when we connect. Meaning, how connection look like. We have Daniel and Mark, and their relationship look like this. They share things, thoughts, an idea, and they create like a texture that nourish both of their emotional structure and that respect their autonomy, their independence. So here in this texture, we have compassion, empathy, listening, exchange, common understanding, honest talk. So we have a real connection here. We call this relationship healthy relationship. But what happens if my emotional structure is not similar to one of those, but it's more similar to one of those two? Especially if I grew up in an environment where mom and dad show me love and affection. When I suppress my emotions, my need, what did I learn? I learned to suppress my emotion, to be part of the group, to be part of the world, to exist, right? This is something that I learned. It's not good, it's not bad, it's an information. It's not a case that the more our need and emotion were unmet in childhood, the more the relationships we have in adulthood are draining, unauthentic, and also toxic. And I tell you why. It's very simple. So let's back to our emotional structure. Let's suppose that my emotional structure is more similar to those. Boundaries here are not really defined because I have some hole here and there, right? What does it mean? It means that I'm not able to clarify, to identify, to see my needs and emotion. So I'm not able to identify which are my boundaries. And in most of the cases, if I'm here, I'm totally unaware of that. This is what I know about the world. It's simply how things are. So how I can become aware of something I'm not able to see. Well, we know that like it's inside, so it's outside. So it's by observing the common outside partner, so what happened in our relationship, that we can light up what's inside. So I'm going to tell you the 4 signs that reveal that your relationships are not authentic. And if you notice one or more of them as a common partner, this is the moment to set healthy boundaries for you to preserve your energy and your well-being. So, are you ready? So the first sign that you need to set healthy boundaries is when you notice this dynamic. And the exchange between the two sounds like this. By Carl. I throw all my emotion and thoughts at you, pretending I care about what you think, Sarah. But honestly, if I talk to a wall, it wouldn't be so different. So the important thing for me is what said Carl. It's not actually sharing, but is discharging my thoughts, my emotions to you. So every time Carl talks to Sarah, but not just in talking, but in every kind of interaction via messages or something, he complained about everything that's going wrong in his life. And it doesn't give Sarah a chance to talk about her or change the topic. And what happened to Sarah? Sarah started feeling that Carl is using her as his personal dumping ground. So how would it be for Sarah it will be exhausting. It leaves her drained and frustrated after every interaction, and she can feel it in her body. We can call this dynamic emotional dumping. The second sign is more similar to this. Here we have Eric and Paul, and we see here discharging about something the two people have in common, but that it's not the source of enrichment between the two. So they discharge in the external environment without creating any sort of connection that we had here, right? Paul and Eric can be two colleagues, for example, that meet every day at lunch to talk bad about their boss or their co-workers. How this relationship would be? Also here, there's no a real relationship. There's no an authentic connection. But we have just a perception of it because we have this adrenaline when we talk and speak with our person. We can call this configuration emotional covering, because both of the individual involved are covering a lot about their genuine self. The third sign is similar to dumping, to the first one, because one of the two share and throw up information and emotion to the other part. But here, we also have the thing that we have Laura and Kathy, for example, and Laura not just share their emotion and feeling, but she tried to destroy the boundaries that Kathy previously built. So suppose that the Laura and Kathy are sister, and that Laura call Kathy at every hour, day and night, or come to visit her without previously letting her know, wanting all the attention of Kathy, totally unaware of her sister needs and desires. We can call this configuration emotional blindness. And the final sign is probably the most aggressive, because one of the two sides, so we have the information, emotion here, thoughts, one of the side not just share emotions and thoughts and opinion, but he wants that those thoughts, emotion, and opinion become part of the other person. So we have in this example Luis and Diego, and basically Luis says something like this: what I believe is right, what I believe and I think is right, and you, Diego, you are miserable if you don't adopt my vision. So it's like a sort of emotional colonization, right? And most of the time, this dynamic is due to unsolved abandonment trauma from this side of the relationship. And this kind of dynamic is the same that could lead to a narcissistic relationship. So if you notice that you are here in one or more of your relationship, pay attention and start to set your boundaries right here. And realizing that we are in an authentic and toxic relationship, whether it's a friendship or romantic one, can mark the beginning of a transformative journey. It's about learning to embrace self-love and care while establishing and maintaining healthy, flexible boundaries. This path leads to emotional maturity and independence, and it requires time. But you notice changes in your body, in your life from the start. And if you want to have some practical tips to set boundaries in your daily life, in your relationship, you can watch this video. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being with me, and see you next time.